Imagine falling 2 miles out of the sky, strapped to a plane seat, crashing into the Amazon jungle, and surviving. This is the story of Juliane Koepcke, the teenage girl who lived through one of the most impossible disasters in aviation history. But what if I told you that that wasn't even the most unbelievable part? Because years later, it happened again. In this video, we're diving into the mind-blowing true story of the girl who defied gravity, fate, and death itself not once, but twice. In the moment you hear how she survived her fall and what she faced alone in the jungle, you'll understand why this story still baffles scientists, pilots, and survival experts to this day. No parachute, no food, no rescue. Just 11 days in the most unforgiving place on earth. This is Juliane's story, the girl who fell from the sky and lived twice. The plane had broken apart mid-air, scattering passengers and debris for miles across the unforgiving jungle. Juliane Koepcke was still strapped to her seat, unconscious, falling through the sky, surrounded by silence and death. Juliane was falling nearly 2 miles above the earth, still conscious, still strapped to her seat. The canopy of the Amazon rushed toward her, violent, endless green. There was no parachute, no miracle, just gravity. Somehow, the jungle broke her fall. A thick net of vines and branches slowed her just enough. Juliane slammed into the forest floor, strapped to her seat, battered and bleeding, but alive. She had just survived a fall that should have killed her 100 times over. Juliane opened her eyes. Everything hurt. Blood streaked down her face, one eye swollen shut, and the world around her was green, endless, and alive. She had survived the fall, but now she was alone, deep in the Amazon, with no idea where she was, or if anyone else had made it. Disoriented and in pain, Juliane looked around. The forest was vast, alien, and terrifying. She was just 16, alone, and she had no idea which direction led to safety or to death. No one answered her cries, and in that silence, something shifted. Juliane realized she was truly alone. No rescue, no comfort, just instinct. After her seatbelt finally gave way, Juliane pulled herself upright. Everything hurt, but she had to move. Somewhere in this jungle, there had to be water. There also had to be a way out. Juliane knew one thing from her father's lessons. If you find water, follow it. She stumbled through the dense underbrush, her injuries worsening, but then she heard it, the sound of a stream. Her wounds were open, raw, and in the rainforest everything crawled. Insects laid eggs in a gash on her arm. She could feel them squirming beneath her skin. She didn't scream, she didn't panic, she endured. The stream became her guide. Wherever it flowed, she followed, limping barefoot over sharp rocks, ducking under vines, clinging to survival. She drank from the river, cleaned her wounds, and prayed it would lead her to something, anything. For days, she walked through the water, feet swollen, skin sunburned and peeling. Then, drifting in the current ahead of her, she saw them. Bodies, fellow passengers, lifeless, bloated, tangled in the weeds. By the 11th day, Juliane could barely walk. Her feet were shredded, her vision blurred. She had survived a fall from the sky, the jungle infection, and now exhaustion. And then she heard it. Voices.
Ahí está ella. ¿Estás bien?
They were local lumbermen, working deep in the jungle. At first, they thought she was a forest spirit or a hallucination, but when she spoke, they froze. She was real. She had survived, and she was finally safe. The men took her to a nearby village, and from there, by canoe, then plane, Juliane was flown to a hospital. She had survived, but when news broke, the world could hardly believe it. A teenage girl, alone in the Amazon for 11 days after falling from the sky. Years later, long after the world had moved on, Juliane boarded another small plane, and once again it crashed, and once again she survived. If you enjoyed this story, please stay tuned for more true and unexplained phenomenon. I'll see you in the next one.